Well, why not? Why not? I don't see a reason why. As long as we follow the right protocols, I think it's possible. We've seen countries do it, so why not us? Even if the fans don't come back to the stadium, but I think we can begin to come back if we plan it properly and we lay down the rules. But of course, that's always subject to the government, health and safety authorities when they deem it fit.
I hope we don't look back exactly the way they're looking back in France and saying, well, if they had known, they wouldn't have cancelled. And that's because other leagues, we've already seen some other people, other leagues resume. But then also, I should also ask now, how prepared is the FCT for football to resume? And that's because, well, I remember taking cameras around and then seeing that, well, there were no football games. Well, the police was actually, the police were actually looking out, for people who indeed would violate those rules. Well, the, Area 3 part, was locked up. The stadium was also locked up. And how is the FCT ready to indeed receive back football?
We are very ready in the sense that we've been acquainting ourselves with updates from the WHO and also the NCDC, and also we have had stakeholders meetings to sort of look at ways that we could resume football so that it doesn't do a permanent damage to the game we love all, because we must be careful. It's a thin line that we don't begin to forget football.
True.
So we must try to do something to sort of put it in the forefront.
All right, very interesting. I'll talk to us about the last 4 years, and now we know the last 4 months, I beg your pardon. Now we know it's actually been a very challenging time, managing resources, and particularly, well, in a sector where a whole lot was actually left undone, and then the fact that, well, you had too many people indeed lamenting the fact that they couldn't go back, to a game that they love a whole lot.
Yes, it's affected everybody, particularly African football and Nigerian football, and then it trickles down to us, the FAs, because you find out that millions of youth are hopeful of football or sports being a way of life, and also it's an economy. It's a contributor to GDP. It's a major stakeholder in the Nigerian economy, as it contributes not only financially but also it helps with the youth in terms of their future and career progression and all sorts. So I think it's critical that we do more to ensure that football comes back, and also there's been talk of palliatives to help alleviate some of these issues.
I was just going to go there. Now, a couple of days ago, well, the Nigerian Football Federation talked about the fact that, yes, there's some monies expected. Well, we hear that some of the countries have received, and then we're talking about as much as 1.5 million now. Is your federation, looking at cashing into this? And also talk to us about, some of the discussions that have been made as regards how this can trickle down, because that's indeed something. It has to trickle down, and people like you are the faces that people see every day, and people ask questions.
Absolutely. This question has been sticking around for long. People have asked me, have called me, but we haven't received any monies yet. We haven't received any guidelines as to how the monies should be distributed or to whom. So that's a critical, there must be a modality, a guideline to say who's getting what. But you see, the bigger teams in Nigeria tend to be government owned. So they have a bit of a cushion. I think the most clubs that need these palliatives are the private owners that put in their hard-earned resources and probably have lost so much within the last couple of months.
And even the grassroots. And even the grassroots also. This could indeed trickle down and also will help, with people who indeed, football have been their livelihood, but unfortunately it's been cut off. And right now, well, lots of complaints about, keeping up.
Yeah, we've seen Ghana, Senegal have come up with modalities and guidelines, and they put them out. So I'm expecting the NFF to do the same so that it clears all the air and expectations from all quarters in terms of how we discharge our responsibilities.
All right, interesting. Now let's press the rewind button. Well, 1 year ago, you indeed were elected, and it's been very, very interesting. Now talk to us about some of the things that has happened and also some of what we should look out for. Now, the FCT is argued should be one of the models of federation, a federation that everybody should look up to and say, well, this is exactly what they're doing, and we should have a whole lot to copy.
Absolutely, Fana. It's been a very interesting 365 days. At first, we campaigned on a certain number of promises, and I would say that we've kept to most of those promises, which were Particularly, I sticked on 3 promises. I talked about the need for improving the facilities and developing new ones, and also training the coaches, the referees, and bringing in new fresh blood into the system.
Can I interrupt by asking how much have we achieved that?
Oh, we have achieved a lot in those aspects, and everybody can testify to that. Number one, we have renovated the 2 most important training facilities here. That's the Area 10 and Area 3 pitch. They were both in bad shape, and in fact, we saw some of the top teams leaving Abuja to go to the neighboring Nasarawa to play their league matches in the Snake Farm. That's professional clubs like FC Abuja and Road Safety. So now they're back to Abuja. And of course, we did a training for 22 coaches drawn from the 6 area councils in the FCT. We paid all expenses at the National Institute of Sports. And now we have 22 brand new coaches, male and female, that have a certification and can get jobs. And then we brought Bayern Munich, which was one of the biggest highlights of what we did in the last 1 year. Bayern Munich did a coaching clinic in Abuja. They came with the Bundesliga Cup. Giovanni Elba, a legend, was here, and he was an inspiration. And Bayern Munich gave them kits, and also we selected 10 young Nigerians that will go on to play in the Bayern Youth Cup in May, but that didn't happen because of COVID.
There's indeed a whole lot that we've got to talk about. But then, well, let's see if how much we can, how much of a bite we can take out of this in the next 1.5 minutes. Now, 2 days ago, the committee of the Nigerian Football Federation indicted Nasarawa FA and then also Nasarawa United on death of former player Chineme Martins, a sad incident that happened. The player slumped during during a game, and also an inquest took place, and right now, the question is, how prepared is the Abuja FA to ensure that this incident actually does not happen again?
It's a very sad incident, and it's a big dent on our image on our football, because it's unacceptable for anybody to die in such a manner, and we need to do more in terms of our preparedness, in terms of our health checks for players, and on-the-spot checks, and so on and so forth. So I think we need to be very, very strict and stringent, and then also we have to ensure that there is adequate world-class medical attention in every match. Because what happened is, people are saying that he needed certain emergency medical attention at that point, but he couldn't get it. There wasn't an ambulance, and so on and so forth. So I think that it's a collective responsibility. We can't only blame Nasarawa, but because who organizes the league, who is in charge of football. So if that happens at the FCT, and we would have to accept blame for such things. And we've been trying to ensure that we do that, because we know that the growth of football lies on our shoulders.